Now, I'd like to take this opportunity right now to introduce to you our guest speaker. His name is Sean McMullen. He's the CEO and also the Artistic Director of Children's Theatre of Long Beach. And I'm sure that you will enjoy what he has to say, and there may be some things that you will learn that will benefit the children and the young people in your life who might enjoy getting involved. Sean?
Thank you, Karen. And thank you all for having me here today. I really, really appreciate it. Especially since Children's Theatre of Long Beach is really about, well, we now live in your home. So we just took up residence upstairs in 21, I believe is the number, and with part-time use of the other 3 classrooms when we need them. And we are also storing all of our costumes, props, and set pieces up in Journeyland. So, yes, we're so thankful for you welcoming us on the campus, and we are looking forward to being longtime partners here. Again, I'm Sean McMullen, CEO of Children's Theatre of Long Beach. But before that, I was just a dad at a PTA meeting. Long ago. With my wife, we were sitting there side by side, and they had these clipboards with all the things they needed parents to volunteer for and places to sign up. We were at the back, so as those clipboards went back and forth, we watched all the spots get filled up, and we thought there'll be nothing for us by the time they get back to us. And indeed, almost nothing was left, but things we knew nothing about, except for 2 spots, and it said Drama Club, and we went, oh, perfect, we're theater majors, we could do this. So we signed up thinking that we would be, helping out this long-established drama club. The PTA president comes running up to me after the meeting, shaking my hand vigorously and saying, thank you for running our drama club. And here I am before you today. So thank you, Fremont PTA, because without them, Children's Theatre of Long Beach would not exist. I was at that school for a decade, and about 5 years into the journey, actually a little bit more than that, CTLB finally started to emerge as a thought, and then 11 years ago became a reality. We watched year after year as children were changed by theater, because that night, Rebecca and I went home and thought, what happened to us in theater that we loved? And what happened to us in theater that hurt us? And we wrote a curriculum that was all about the best things that we experienced. And that was community support, community involvement, connection to our fellow cast members, and connection to each other's families. Our theater would have work days where moms and dads and kids would come together and sew the costumes and paint the sets and work on the props and get the whole community together. So we met each other's families and we bonded that way and became a stronger community. We loved the fact that we could be weird there. We were a bunch of little weirdos. And that was the other reason that we were so grateful to be able to do this at Fremont, was because we knew our daughter was headed down that path. She wasn't the chess club kid, and she certainly wasn't the soccer kid. And we are theater people, so she was going to be a theater person. It was a niche and a place where she could meet other kids that liked to sing and dance on the playground instead of flipping on the bars. And indeed, that's what happened. We started those rehearsals, and kids would get together at the far end of the playground and rehearse their songs and dances. Kids would go into the library and rehearse their scenes, and they formed tighter and tighter bonds. So a few years after we had been doing that at Fremont, parents started saying, you could do this at other schools, and other schools would come forward to us and say, how can we get you to come to our school? I'm like, well, I'm really just a dad from Fremont. That's what we're doing this for. And so a few of my friends who've been on boards of nonprofits said, why don't we start this as a nonprofit? And we got 5 people together and became Children's Theatre of Long Beach. And at that time, only one of our board members was a therapist, my wife. And she looked into it and said, something that we really need to add is a place for the kids to not only learn how to build their self-esteem, which is what you hear all the time when you hear people talk about theater. It totally does that. It builds your self-esteem. It builds your ability to stand up here and talk to all of you. What we don't do, and what hadn't been done, was how do you deal with the emotions before you stand here? How do you deal with the emotions after you walk away? Maybe you flubbed something. What do you do with all of those? So she developed warm-ups that we do in addition to our vocal warm-ups and our physical warm-ups before our auditions. She developed emotional warm-ups. And we have since brought on more board members. We have 2 more therapists and a psychiatrist on our board who have helped us really, really create some groundbreaking stuff that we do with the kids in social emotional learning that really helps them process what they do on stage. It is wonderful to see kids come together to support each other for auditions instead of tear each other down. If you've ever been on stage or know anything about the moment that auditions are posted, people have tried for years to do it in the most secretive and select way so that that thing doesn't happen where, in my day it was the phone chain, now it's the chat, right? And the kids have formed a chat, and suddenly it's like, can you believe that Dorothy got that part? And can you believe that all of that happens? And we're really working now to create a place where they lift each other up and they believe that whatever part they got is the part that best fits them for this moment, knowing that there's going to be another show next, right? So just yesterday, I'm wearing the mushroom shirt because we're doing Alice in Wonderland. So, and I have another audition today. We have 5 after-school programs. Right now, we're about to have a 6th where I'm going to have to alternate one of the schools with another team, probably on a Friday. So the auditions have been happening all week. And what I've been telling the kids every week is, or every day is, that the way you get through auditions is together. Have you heard of kelp forests? Yes, there is a psychological technique called kelping. If everybody would put their arms in the air and wave them back and forth. We all feel pretty silly right now, right? Or we feel like we're praising. It's either way. But what this does is it actually, and then if we bring it down slow, it actually disrupts our vagus nerve from telling our brain that we're in trouble. It's a proven physiological thing that you can't do that gesture and have that little lizard part of your brain tell you to fight or flee. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's amazing.
So you can get your grandkids back in control by having them put them in the air and let's kelp together, right? And if they still won't get into control, you tell them to do the second thing that I told the kids to do, which is hand breathing. So you breathe in on the upstroke and out on the downstroke and up on the instroke, down on the outstroke. And you can do that all the way back and forth until they stop going and then they're back in control. And it was really neat at these auditions to watch as a kid whose number was called to get up and do their reading or their song, to just voluntarily put their arms in the air. I said, if you're feeling a big emotion, put your arms in the air, start kelping. Everyone will kelp with you. We'll take a break. We'll pause time. You can get yourself back into control and then get up there. I said, because who's seen Inside Out, the cartoon movie Inside Out? For those of you who haven't, it's about a little girl named Riley, and they personify all her emotions as characters that live in her brain and pilot her like a vehicle. And most of the time, Joy is in control, and she's this delightful character. But there's other characters, anxiety, fear, sadness, that take over and drive her, like they take over the bus. So I talked to the kids about that. What you want back in control really is none of them. You want you in control. That imaginary character that they don't put in the movie, that is the one that thinks rationally. All those emotions are wonderful to have, but they should really be watching you drive the bus safely, and they should stay in their seats. And you can let them perform, you can let them out and have all of everything that they want, as long as you're in a safe place to have that emotion. And that's what emotional control and regulation is all about. I've seen so many kids harmed by rehearsal, where they have to play the villain and shout at another child. And it's their friend, or maybe it's someone they don't know. And even though I use a lot of English theater technique, which is called outside in, where I'm teaching them how to puppet their body to convey an emotion, as opposed to the Stanislavski or method effect, where I'm telling them to remember something that happened to them and use that memory of that to be that moment. That second technique emerges even if I'm teaching you just how to pilot your body, because we're human. And if I'm on stage screaming at somebody, there's a moment that probably on the playground I screamed at somebody, right? I had that moment where I was angry. And now I'm playing the villain who's angry and has real power. That child is shaken after that rehearsal. Well, what do they do with that? Often they just go home and they watch cartoons and they put it in a box and they compartmentalize it and it goes back into your trauma center and stays there. And it stays there for years. Mm-hmm. And theater can traumatize and re-traumatize all of the people that participate in it, especially if there's no way to deal with what you just felt. So that's what we provide. All of the programming that our therapists and psychologists have put together help the kids before they experience that, prep themselves for going through big emotions, and then after the fact, have tools to deal with all of those big scenes that they have to play. I mean, sometimes it's fun. Sometimes you're just Ariel in her grotto with all her things, longing to be somewhere else. That's what I'm about to do auditions for that this weekend. But sometimes you're Ursula. Yeah, and everybody wants to sing that song, but nobody thinks about having to play the death scene at the end. Right? I'm gonna have a 12 to 18-year-old person screaming with a trident, attempting to kill people on stage, and then get killed herself. We don't think about it, but that's the Little Mermaid. That is the end of the Little Mermaid, right? And I'm gonna have to guide kids through this imaginary moment that seems like, oh, this is just play fun, it's silly, right? No, to make you engaged, it has to be real. And they have to know how to separate themselves from what's going on. So that's what we work really, really, really hard to do. And the connection between us and you guys is that here it says that you seek, through leadership development, creative fellowship, inspire, influence, and impact local and global communities. I am seeking to impact my local and global communities by putting healthy people out into the world. Thank you. That is what we do. I'm not interested in training the next generation of actors to win the Academy Award. I want to put people out into the world who can walk through this world and help others, help themselves, be there for their families, and be healthy up here and in here. And it's a long road, it's a hard journey, and I'm grateful that you had me here to talk about it today. So thank you so much. Yes, questions?
Tell us about the 3 programs that you guys
Yes,
do.
okay, just a quick thing. So we have three different programs. We have an after-school program. In the past, we've served 4 schools each semester. So we had a total of 8 schools, and those schools would rotate, so it wasn't always the same 8 schools. This year, we added 2 more schools, so we've served 10 schools. And this semester, somebody just contacted me, and we're in the process of adding a 6th school. Yeah, we're really expanding fast. Those school programs are 3 hours, 1 day a week after school, and then they perform at the Ernest Borgnine Theatre, which is in the Scottish Rite Event Center on 9th and Elm downtown. So it's the old Scottish Rite Cathedral. They've been having dance companies and weddings and all sorts of beautiful events there for the last, 10, 20 years. They've opened their doors to more than just the Masons. And it's an incredible 100-year facility this year. You should come and take a look at it. Our second product is the Weekenders. And that's for kids in 2nd grade through high school seniors. And they rehearse on the weekends from 1 to 5. That's what I'm doing Little Mermaid with. And then we have the Family Stage program, which anyone from 7 to 777 can come and perform in. So if you yourselves would like to be on stage, we do 2 family stage productions a year. You can be there with your kids, your grandkids, or just come on your own. And most summers we have done Pirates of Penzance in the summer. We're just now doing our first winter stage. that is a family stage production, and it's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's going to be wonderful. So the car is going to fly on February 21st. And in this summer, we'll either do Pirates, we're kind of in a deciding phase right now, Pirates of Penzance, or Bye Bye Birdie. So one of the two, and the reason we're looking at Bye Bye Birdie is because we're kind of partnering with St. Anthony's High School. They're doing Mary Poppins, we're doing Chitty, and then if we had Bye Bye Birdie, we can say Happy Birthday Dick Van Dyke, because he was in all three of those properties, so that's what we're up to.
And what activities are you using upstairs and anything else you're doing?
Yeah, so Little Mermaid auditions Saturday, right up there in room 21. That's what's going to be happening. And then Saturdays and Sundays from 1 to 5, we will be rehearsing The Little Mermaid upstairs. So that's what we'll be doing here on campus, and probably during those rehearsals I'll be over there pulling costumes and getting costumes and stuff ready up in Journeyland. We're looking to, our next phase of expansion is parents have always asked, do you teach acting classes? Do you have vocal lessons? Do you teach design? Can my child come to you and learn how to sew costumes? And I've always had to say no, we don't do any of that, but they can kind of do that in the shows. Well, now we have 4 classrooms we can use, so we're looking to start academy classes. So I'm putting syllabus creation materials out to people that have worked with us as choreographers, directors, actors in some cases, designers, to put together classes that we can offer after school, but we will probably launch those for summer workshops. So we'll probably do them as like day-long workshops, or maybe a week-long workshop this summer, and then transfer them in the fall to weekly lessons. So that's what we're up to up there.
Sean,
Yeah.
how do you reach out to the kids to let them know that you are auditioning upstairs?
That's a good question. That's a good question. So we post on our website, so anybody looking for auditions in children's theater, it pops right up. We post on our social media, so we have an Instagram, we have a Facebook. Most of the kids are on Insta. We don't do TikTok. We don't do Twitter, which is trying to X, which sounds nasty, so we're not there. But we do those 2 social media, and then we advertise on all of our after-school programs. So all the after-school program parents, we have an app called Band. It's not our app. It was developed so that high school bands could communicate with each other and plan all of their rehearsals, and they could post their music, and so it was a perfect fit for musical theater. So we use that now as for every single show, every school. We have a little band app, and then the parents can click on that, and all of the kids' materials are there, and all my communications are there, and parents can text me, and it makes it really simple. So I post there as well. So that's how they find out.
And I know you do productions at the Ernest location. Down the road, are you thinking maybe doing a production here?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Yes, so 2 years ago, we did a production of A Christmas Carol that uses a lot of puppetry. So all the ghosts are puppets, but not in the traditional sense. We have one puppet that kind of Muppety, which is Marley, that you would recognize as a puppet. The other ones are more experimental puppetry. So, for example, the Ghost of Christmas Past, when Scrooge climbs into his bed curtains fly off the bed, and the fire from the fireplace flies out of the fire and becomes the head of the ghost, and the bed curtains are the body. And then when he goes into the past, it's done with a fabric called scrim fabric that you can look solid if you put light on the front and becomes transparent if you put light from behind. So we project on the front of it even more puppets, little tiny paper puppets that are being puppeted on a tabletop with a camera on them, live, and the projector is on the body of the ghost, and then Scrooge is behind the ghost with a person with a flashlight on him, so you can see Scrooge through the ghost, and then he's interacting with the tabletop puppets that are now projected large on the body. So, yeah, so we're thinking of bringing that production here, right downstairs, so.
We have our stage.
You have your stage. So we're thinking of, we think it's the right fit because it's not, we put it in the board 9, it's about a 8-person cast, And it felt a bit like a postage stamp in that great big 360-seat theater. So, but on a stage this size, I think it will feel grand and right. But with only 8 people on stage, it felt tiny. So.
And it also uses the stage that hasn't been used for a while, which is a good thing.
Yeah, we're also excited to use that stage possibly for,
It's had a lot.
yeah, that 6th show, for example, that 6th show that I'm thinking of, that we're trying to get the school connected, we can't fit it in the Borgnine because it's all booked. They came in so late that all of the dates around where we do all our shows over there are all booked out. So if that school approves us, then we'll be coming to you guys to ask if we can use that for their after-school program for Finding Nemo. So we would have a Finding Nemo here. Yeah.
Are all your schools that you're at in Long Beach?
The majority of them are in Long Beach, but that school that I'm talking about is in Pico Rivera. And we just had a school, what's the city next to Pico Rivera? Whittier. Thank you. We had a school from Whittier just last semester that came.
Nothing around here, closer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Years away.
yeah, Whittier's a ways.
I mean, like,
Our local schools
Los
are,
Alamitos, you know,
oh, in Los Alamitos?
or Cypress, or.
I don't have any Cypress or Los Al schools yet. I'd love to have some Cypress and Los Al schools. What it takes is somebody who knows a school that doesn't have a theater program, going to that school's PTA and the principal together and saying, hey, I know a company that does after-school programming. Would you like to sit down and have a meeting with them? And so then I like to do a live meeting, although we could do a Zoom if we have to. But I love to meet live. And then we just talk about the school's needs, and we kind of tailor the program to the school. So if they need a cap, if they say we really don't want the program to be any bigger than 30 people, it's a 30-person program. Some schools are like, we can't put any cap on it. So we just did a show with 195 kids in it. Yeah. So yeah, it's like a military campaign, I'm telling you. And there were probably 35, 40 volunteer parents who helped us pilot that show. Yeah.
Are these elementary schools you're talking about, or junior?
Elementary and elementary junior high combinations. That's what we do the after school programming in. Because usually the high schools have English teachers that teach drama.
Okay.
They have drama programs. But and some middle schools have drama programs, but not everyone. The lucky ones do. And it's usually, again, an English teacher who does it after school because they don't have a proper theater class that they teach in school as part of the wheel or rotation or whatever they call their electives. So theater is America's overlooked child. It really is a necessary thing because of all that it can teach. But people don't seem to understand or recognize what it does. We just don't see it. Yeah.
Well, I think the professional people on your board is real helpful too. And that you had that idea when you were starting. But is there any cost to the people that are the kids that are in it?
Yes and no. So we always put a fee up because we have found that unless the school tells us we can't, but we attach a fee. At Bryant Elementary years ago, the fee was $5. The rest of it was scholarshiped in. My wife's aunt was our very first angel, and she said she wanted to start a scholarship program to make sure that everybody could be part of the show, and so that we could pay our people to do the work with us. Because it's not fair to have people who expected to do a 30-person program and now you're at a 195-person program and there's not extra compensation. So she started a scholarship program, and then 2 years ago she passed away, and in memoriam that scholarship program has gone through the roof. So, and we've never turned anybody down, but in the olden days there were times when it would run out and we would just still grant people scholarships. So we would say it's fine. It's fine, and our teachers would understand. But we can now grant scholarships and pay our teachers the extra as the kappa goes up for each class.
So having a channel about theater and knowing tickets only cover 1/3, how do you actually get all these productions done with little
That's
money?
a good question too. I was just at the chamber, so and letting them know how they can help too. I mean, buying tickets and coming to see shows, bringing your family to shows. That's the first thing, right? Ticket sales really do help us, but they do not fund everything. But we really want to see everybody there. We want to change. California is funny. Unlike the rest of the country, California really thinks that children's theater is only for children on stage, and then for the parents and grandparents of those children to come see them. Everywhere else in America knows children's theater as a thing you take your kids and grandkids to, right? They call the other thing the school show, or the Minneapolis Children's Theater's children's program, right? It's a subset of children's theater, but they think of children's theater as kind of like Musical Theater West, but it is a G-rated property that you know you can take your kids to and everything is cool. So we're trying to change that with the family stage programs and want people to come to see those to sort of train people into thinking about it differently. So that's one, ticket sales, come see the show. Second thing is underwriting something. Just contacting us and saying, do you need help with anything? We always need help. We have a list of things that we would love to be able to buy, but we can't, right? Because I want to pay my teachers first, and then we work with what we have where we are. So if I have 3 flashlights and a bunch of green vests, then we're going to do a show about 3 flashlights and a bunch of green vests, right? But we have a list. So you can underwrite something and then we put your name on it, put that in the program. Or you can do a general donation, and that goes usually into the scholarship fund. You can also advertise with us. So if you or your kids or whoever you know has a business or whatever, you can place a year-long ad that goes into all of our programs that's seen by the thousands of people that come to see our shows, because we fill up that 370-seat theater 10 times.
To a performance.
Yeah, 370-seat theater, about, well, now with 10 schools, and they each do 2 shows, so that's just the school shows with the 20 performances. And then the weekenders programs, and then the main stage programs repeatedly over the years. So thousands of people would see the ad. So that's the way that you could do it.
And last question for me is, we're looking forward when you do the production here, but tell us the uniqueness about the theater location you're doing now, that how people, there'll be a unique experience with this theater. Why?
Oh, about the Borgnine just in general? Yeah, she's 100 years old this year. She was developed originally just to be a Masonic venue, and she was never touched. So all of the other theaters of that kind, especially at Long Beach, there were, Rainbow Harbor was torn down, the Civic Auditorium, and they put up the Terrace, which is lovely, and mid-century. But there's nothing that's truly deeply historic except the Borgnine. And you walk in and it looks like a Broadway theater. It's been preserved. We're going to continue to preserve it. The building just got a $50,000 grant to restore the 100+ drops. I don't know if you know what a drop is. It's the scenery that comes up and down on stage. They have 100+ historic drops from Martin Studios in Los Angeles that are damaged, some of them water damaged, some of them ripped and torn, and we just went through a series of trainings. I'm a scenic painter before I got into all of this, and I really wanted to help restore it, so we just got trained on how to restore it, and so we're going to begin to restore that and the proscenium, and then there is a 100-year gala coming up for the building that will also help to restore the rest of the facility. So it's beautiful, beautiful theater, and it's just like stepping back in time. It's really stunning on the inside.
I have one last question.
Yes.
You're doing Bye Bye Birdie and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and what was the other one?
St. Anthony's is doing Mary Poppins.
And Mary Poppins. Do you have to pay for the rights to those?
Yes, we do. Some theater companies, which will remain nameless, do whatever they want. But because we're a nonprofit and we want to be, I mean, we named ourselves Children's Theater of Long Beach for a purpose. Yeah, a lot of other theater companies have very cute names, but we really wanted to be Long Beach's children's theater. And therefore we felt we needed to operate above the board the whole way. So we always license all of our products. And the licensing, they've now done a weird thing where it's fine because we don't charge more than $15 for tickets for our after-school programs for the kids. But when you license those products for the schools, they now tell you you can't charge more than $15. So that's the other thing is, even as costs of doing the shows have gone up, they're now telling me I can't accommodate through ticket sales anymore. So that's it. That's the downside of that. But yes, we license everything.
Do you have grant writers? Do you employ grant writers for you?
We don't employ them. We have one member of our board who is focused on grant writing. He is one of our therapists as well. And he gets us a fair number of grants. And then we have another person who helps him with the text, and I help with the text. But he works full-time as a therapist. So anybody who has time to volunteer as a grant writer would be really helpful as well.
I have a question. Do any of your students go on to professional theater careers?
Yes, they do. One of them came back and spoke at our last gala. Perry Matfeld just finished up 4 seasons of a program called In the Dark, and she was the lead. She went to USC afterwards, and it's a beautiful girl. And she played our Dorothy in our very first version of The Wizard of Oz. And I loved it and went on to it. But we also have, I've had kids who are now, because we started the program in 2000, doctors, lawyers, cops, everybody. Yeah.
I have one more question. Access community, or do you have programs for them, or are you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we at all of our school side programs, we're completely open. And right now, one of our teachers is a one-on-one for a student at one of our school sites, and so we make sure it's open to everybody. Everybody.
Besides being on stage, you also have, I'm picturing 195 kids, but you've got to have some who are working on the sets.
Yes.
They're painting or they're what have you, building them, which is another skill to develop feeling of competence and all, as well as, oh, I hated that.
Yes.
The show goes on, and that's what they're doing for that particular show, because every kid can't get an on-stage part.
Correct.
As well as there are other behind-the-scenes things that are needed.
And how much
Yes.
those behind the scenes really contribute to the whole?
Oh, it's the whole thing.
It's
Yeah.
the whole thing.
bunch.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell them we are all storytellers. So whether you're painting a scenery piece, or you're making a prop, or you're sewing a costume, you're all storytellers, and you're telling the story together, and you're all equally important. Just because there's one kid out there who has 2 solos, that doesn't mean, that's the person we're following, the thread we're following through the story. But everything they have to walk in front of and wear, and everyone else they talk to on stage, the person that is sliding the sliders up and down for the microphones, it's all part of the storytelling. So we can't do it without every single person.
So what's your hopes and dreams for the next 5, 10, 15 years?
Oh boy, that's a long way to think out. But that's a long way to think out. But I would love to be able to be the legacy I'd love to leave California is to change California's mind and to have it start right here in Southern California. And for people in California to think of children's theater as theater that you bring your family to. So that's ultimately what I want to do. It's what we started out, when the board sat down, we said there's a strange thing that's happening, and slowly over time, we're gonna shift this. We have to start where everybody thinks we need to be, which is after school programs. And we're gonna slowly work our way towards getting people to understand that this is for everyone, and we all need to be involved in it.
okay, thank you.
Thank you guys, thank you so much.
The Los Altos United Women in Faith seeks to nurture women through Christian spiritual formation, leadership development, creative fellowship, and education so that they inspire, influence, and impact local and global communities. We'll turn it over. And now we'll repeat our purpose. The Los Altos United Women in Faith shall be a community of women whose purpose is to know God and experience freedom as whole persons through Jesus Christ, to develop a creative, supportive fellowship, and to expand concepts of mission through participation in the global ministries of the church.